Thank you for staying with us. Now, Doctors Without Borders is supporting a call to waive intellectual property rights for COVID-19 vaccines. It says this would increase global production of the vaccines. Most wealthy countries have secured more than enough doses and leaving low-income states scrambling for jabs. Now, the U.S. is supporting the call, led by South Africa and India, to set aside vaccine patents. But for more on this, Kate Stegemen from Doctors Without Borders speaks to us all the way from Cape Town. And thank you so much for your time, Ms. Stegemen. Good morning to you. I think let's talk about the reality on the ground, the fact that we have some of the richer countries hoarding some of these vaccines, and this is to the detriment of low-income countries, some of our poorer countries and counterparts then left to scramble, for the jab. Paint us a picture of what it looks like on the ground.
Absolutely. Well, we've already seen estimates from the Economist Intelligence Unit and others that low-income countries, the majority of which are here in Africa, will only receive immunization in 2023. And that's massively concerning, and that's not a situation that we should be accepting. So any measures that can be taken to scale up vaccine production is incredibly important, including, this TRIPS waiver at the WTO.
Yeah, it seems that some of the sentiments that are coming out, though, is that this waiver should not only apply to the preventative COVID-19 vaccine, but to also other supplies, just in terms of medical support and resources.
Absolutely. So while Doctors Without Borders and others welcome the United States getting behind the TRIPS waiver proposal, they did make it clear that they were supporting a limited scope and a narrower focus on vaccines. And we really think it's critical that they go back to the drawing board and that they consider South Africa and India's original proposal, which also includes diagnostics and treatment for COVID-19.
Yeah, and just for clarity's sake then, Kate, waiving intellectual property rights, what does this mean for South Africa? At least for now we know where the United States stands, but for other countries, either third world or other first world countries, what does it mean?
So basically it just means that legal barriers such as intellectual property would be set aside so that countries in the developing world would be able to scale up manufacturing of COVID-19 medical tools. And this, we particularly would like to see a South-South collaboration and more manufacturing happening in countries such as India, which has more capacity over and above what they're currently doing at the Serum Institute of India. There are other pharmaceutical companies there. We know that there's some capacity as well in our own continent. And once the patent waiver has hopefully passed, and there's also been pharmaceutical companies sharing know-how, we can see the urgent scale-up of those vaccines.
Yeah, so when we look at, also the statement coming in from the president, just in terms of this waiver, speaking of capacity, we're seeing that 55% of the existing vaccine manufacturing capacity is located in East Asia, that 40% seen in Europe and 5% in North America. Does it mean that when we look at, developing countries, does it mean that they are still underutilized?
Absolutely. So in the current system that we have at the moment, it's at the discretion of the pharmaceutical companies to award licenses to manufacturing companies. And if the patents were to be waived, that would no longer be the case, and countries would be able to start providing generics without getting those licenses. So we would see, for example, like at the moment we have AstraZeneca supplied by the Serum Institute of India, and we've seen at the same time that India has now come and said, because of the domestic situation there and the crisis that is happening, that they have put a temporary hold on that production. So that is hugely concerning, and this is exactly because of the system we have at the moment with this license situation. And if patents were to be waived and other companies were to be able to produce, we would hopefully have seen less of a shortage than what we're seeing right now. So other companies elsewhere in India and various other countries around the world would be able to ensure that that supply, particularly for the COVAX facility, would not be delayed as it is at the moment.